Welcome to the H.I.P podcast, where we believe the real experts on healing are those who've lived it. I'm H.I.P, director of the H.I.P Counseling Center, and on this show, we give voice to the incredible journeys of those who've navigated attachment challenges and complex trauma. Here, you'll hear from clients of therapy themselves about what truly helped them and how they found their path to healing. I am so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the very first episode of the H.I.P podcast. I wanted to begin this podcast with a conversation that captures both the beauty and the deeply difficult, deeply human process of therapy, especially when you're healing attachment trauma. In this episode, I'm joined by Hadass, a trauma and somatic coach who shares her lived experience of what happens when therapy itself becomes the place where old relational wounds are reenacted. We talk about the push and pull that can show up in therapy, the fear of being too dependent, too attached, too much, and how easily that experience can leave someone feeling crazy, regressed, or like a child again. We explore why this intensity doesn't mean therapy is failing, but often means the deepest work is actually happening. We talk about common misdiagnoses, including borderline personality disorder, the limits of skills-based approaches, and why co-regulation within the therapeutic relationship is often what allows real change to occur. Most importantly, Hadass shares her own journey, a lived answer to the question so many people quietly carry. Can someone with insecure attachment actually move toward secure attachment? This is an honest conversation about how healing happens, not around the relationship, but through it. Thank you, Hadass, and thank you all for listening.
Welcome. This is such an honor. I don't even know how to describe the honor of coming forward. A warrior like yourself, coming forward to really help everybody here by sharing your story. I think it's amazing. And obviously, whatever feels right to you, you'll share. Whatever doesn't feel right, you won't share.
Right.
And hopefully, this will be so impactful. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to introduce yourself. I mean, should I introduce myself? I don't know. I'm a random guy. I do therapy, and that's how this all got started because we talked about the somatic stories around attachment, trauma, and the challenge that brings to therapy, which is an attachment relationship, which is quite challenging to negotiate. And people are like, could people really get better? It seems so dark and hopeless sometimes. And there are examples of people who really have transformed their lives. And you're like, hey, I'll share my story. So I'm so glad you're here. So maybe introduce yourself, what you do, and let everyone know who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited to be here too. I was kind of like noticing I was very excited about it. And I was also a little bit anxious. And I realized how when I was thinking about what I'm going to share and what I want to share, I was kind of like wearing the hat of like the coach. Like, oh, this is what I do with my clients. This is what I do with my clients. I'm like, no, yes, there is something very different to be here as the client and sharing like my own journey with it. Yeah.
We're so glad. And you could switch hats, on and off throughout whatever feels right,
Yeah.
throughout this talk. We're okay with it all.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Hadass. I'm Israeli. I do live in Brooklyn for the last 6-7 years. I am now, I'm a trauma coach and somatic coach. This is what I do. And yeah, I just want to say that I respect your work so much. I respect the things you show up. Yes, I do.
Oh, we're here with so many people. Okay.
Yeah. No. Right now I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just respect the way you show up and you answer the questions so much like, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That's so heartwarming. Thank you. My pleasure. Absolutely. So I guess you've been following some of the stories that we've been doing over the years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm always following. Yeah.
Okay.
Reading everything.
Yeah. So glad you're on board.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think the first thing that is coming to my mind is there is so much shame around that like attachment and needing to like feel close to like my therapist or like to people in general. But the more I'm thinking about it is like it's exactly the opposite. Like some of us who went through so much and still believe in connection and still believe in attachment, it really is so beautiful. And I think it's something that is very powerful and special about us and not the other way around. So I just want to celebrate that.
I love that. Also, I would add to that. I think that there's a part of people, maybe, that is looking for that very strongly. And then there's another side of them that's so scared of it and also not trusting of it because of what's happened to them. Right? So that's, I think, where a lot of this comes in. Like, do I actually need this in life? Like, I feel like I want it. I don't know why. I'm trying to do this on my own. It's not working, or it doesn't feel good. I don't know why it doesn't feel good. This should feel better because I was hurt by other people, potentially. And it's not going that way, Yet I still keep going to try to find a therapist, and I can't figure out why. Like, why am I still doing that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if you could speak for that. If that's been your experience too. But
Yeah, it was my experience, and I hear it also from a lot of people, like, I'm supposed to, like, be able to do this on my own. And I did my own work, like, for a long time, I was doing it on my own. And it worked. It was beautiful in a way, but it also, like, I needed so much more than that.
Yeah.
And it took me time to understand, like, as a human being, just like we need to eat and we need to sleep and we need to drink water, we also need connection. And at the end of the day, attachment is connection. So we're not supposed to do this on our own. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And really, I think what you're saying is that it's inherent. It's an inherent need that we have being in this universe. And that's why we don't feel good when we're not connected.
Right.
Because we need it in our systems in order to survive. So if we would actually scan, I don't know what the right machinery is to scan somebody's like system, but there is a lot of stress in the system when we're not connected, even if it doesn't feel that way. The thing is that when we learn to avoid so brilliantly, because we've had to do that for a really good reason most of the time, then we also learn how to avoid our emotions and how we feel. And we stop tuning into ourselves, which means that we think we're not stressed, but we can be very stressed and just not be aware of it. So I think maybe that's what you're speaking to. Like, we really need this and there's no getting around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes therapy is kind of like the way of helping us developing that, like, healthy attachment. So in the future, we're going to be able to, like, develop that healthy relationships with other people. Because I know for me, the relationship with my therapist was something that helped me define, oh, that what healthy relationships look like. Like, this is what I want in my future.
Wow. Could I pause on this? I think this is tremendous. I think what you're saying is that when you've experienced attachment trauma, there's no sense of what's safe and secure. Like, we don't have a model for that, and we don't know how that's supposed to feel. So this was, it sounds like, the first time that you were like, whoa, this is different. This is something that maybe is what everyone's talking about, or other people are talking about, that I've been searching for. But I imagine it didn't just show up on day one of therapy, that experience. But is that what you're talking about? Like, there's no template for you growing up in your adult life until you went to therapy.
Until I went to therapy, it wasn't even like the first time that I went to therapy, because it took me like a long time to understand that sometimes, and I can see it as a coach and as a client myself, like sometimes even as a coach or as a therapist, we can attract clients. Like, if I'm not aware of my own attachment, I can attract therapists or clients that will kind of like feed my own attachment. So we're staying in that same loop, but in therapy.
Oh, well, okay, wait, this is important. We got to take this one slow. You're saying that because of your attachment needs at the time, let's say you're in a very protective state, I think you're describing maybe, then you're going to seek out in the beginning, potentially, people who are going to keep that safe for you in a way.
Yeah.
That resonates a lot with me personally, and also with a lot of people I know, that where you are is where you're going to attract people.
Right.
So therefore, until you were able to feel a little more open, it sounds like, I don't know how that happened, but then you were searching for something deeper, more connection, more attachment. And there's obviously different styles of therapy, like somebody who's very present focused and solution focused, right? That's the safest option probably for people with attachment trauma.
Right.
The only thing is that I'm putting that safest in quotes because it's just something that won't hit the sunburn, right? It won't hit that sunburn and hit hard, because they're going to talk about like, oh, so you can't get out of bed in the morning, so let's get you exercising, right? Or something like that, right? Or let's like change your thoughts, right? Or something like that. And then that's like the safest like option. So, okay, we don't actually have to connect too deeply. You'll give me the tools that I need, and then I'll get better. But it sounds like that didn't really work out for you so well.
Right. So if I'm like thinking about the journey that I had with like few therapists, so let's say I had that, what the experience that you just shared, and I had a therapist, and she was healthy. She had like a healthy attachment, but for me, because I was so anxiously attached, that like healthy boundaries felt like, oh, you're ignoring me, oh, you're abandoning me, oh, you don't understand what I need, you don't care about me.
Okay.
So
I
yeah.
think everybody on here is going to raise their hands to say that that resonates. Right? This is a very common experience when you've struggled through attachment trauma. We are even just not answering a text or an email, or not answering quick enough, or waiting a whole week for therapy are all triggers of that, where you literally experience like you're rejecting me, and it feels that way in your nervous system, and you start thinking you're crazy potentially or something. If you've ever been told you're crazy, like that's going to say like, yeah, I can't even wait for therapy. Look at all these other people, they're talking about therapy like it's the most amazing thing in the world, and I'm like, I'm dreading this whole thing. Look what's going on for me. Did you have a similar experience like that?
Yeah, so I truly believe that I'm crazy. And I also like, I heard people talking about therapy as like being the most amazing thing in the world, but also like being like nothing, like something like, oh, I go, I see my therapist, it's over, cool. And I'm like, whoa, no, for me, it's not like the session is over, so now I can move on with my life. It's almost like I cannot close the door after the session is over. And you can't really share, like, you can't really talk to your friends about it or like say something because like, what's wrong with you? Or you like, she's just your therapist, he's just your mentor. Like, what is happening? People don't really understand.
So they're saying the fact that you're taking it so seriously and it's affecting you so much, to them, there's something inherently unhealthy about you.
Right.
Right? And then you start to like feel like you're so isolated, you're so misunderstood. And you're not doing anything wrong. You're innocent. You're just like showing up to therapy. Like, you're not even trying to be so attached necessarily, right? Or you're just showing up, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
And now you're being shamed or questioned. Like, what's up with you? Why do you take this relationship so seriously? And you don't even know why, probably. But you just know that it's happening.
I had no idea. Right. And then I would come with like so much anxiety to the session because in my head for a week, I was creating a story that she's rejecting me and probably I did something wrong. So I would come to a session feeling all that anxiety in my body. So it took me like 30 minutes to feel safe in my body again. And then the session is over. So now what?
Were you aware of that, by the way? That
I was not.
Okay.
I had no idea of what is happening. I had no clue.
So it just felt like chaos to you, probably. It just felt chaotic, confusing, unsettling.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that like I wasn't gaining anything from therapy. I was getting a lot of tools on like how to deal with my own like panic attacks and this and that. But like when it comes to like attachment, I didn't know how to like say it back then or like to how capable I feel as a person. I didn't feel like an adult. I always felt like I'm a child. Like all my friends are adult and I'm like this little child. So I still stayed a child, like even though I went to therapy.
Right, which basically is further isolation, which is really like the definition of attachment trauma, right? It's like, here you are getting the help that you need, and then it's just reinforcing that you are rejectable or unlovable or someone who can't connect. And like your friends agree, they think you're weird, like what's up with you and you're taking the therapy so seriously.
Right.
You and maybe even your therapist agrees, like you need me too much, or I don't know if you had experiences like that, like what, you're too dependent, or you reach out to me too much, or something like that. And then you're getting again that subtle message, or maybe not so subtle, that like I just take up too much space for people, I'm just too much, and I have to figure out how to be someone different so that they can accept me, which is exactly what happens when you've been traumatized.
Exactly.
And you have to become someone new that they'll accept, because attachment is the most important thing ever. So whatever is going to get you attachment, you're going to do. So you'll change and you'll shift and you'll disconnect from yourself and your essence, which is so sad, just so that you'll be acceptable. And now this is playing out in therapy. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a reenactment, right? That's like,
it was tough. It was really tough because in a way, because of therapy, I developed the same symptom that I developed as a child because of my attachment trauma.
Yeah.
So I really felt stuck in this place.
I just want to say something clinical just because a lot of people ask me about this. So I just want to put it right here. Whoever's going to rewatch it. This is a concept of transference. They always want me to talk about this. I don't know why. This is like a big topic that maybe is not understood well. But this is what's happening is that there's the seeing relational trauma is what happened. And now you're stepping into a relationship which is inherently your stressor, right? The relationship itself,
Right.
the idea of the relationship, the idea of the attachment is stressful to begin with because that is your trauma. So whatever experience you've had from your previous hurtful relationships are now playing out for you in your nervous system exactly the same way, it sounds like, with your therapist. And people are confirming that something's up with you. And that's exactly what your experience was, where you're being told that you're crazy or you're feeling like you're crazy.
Right.
So this is the concept of transference. And people think like, okay, I have to get over this so that I could start doing therapy. Like I have to figure out how to get over this so that I could start doing therapy. When I hear that, it breaks my heart.
Right.
This is therapy.
Right.
This stress and working it through is therapy. A huge part of therapy.
Yeah.
We don't have to bypass it or work it out so that we could start doing therapy. This is going to be the healing that you need to feel and experience safety and security in a relationship. It's going to be this messy and this chaotic and feel more rejecting, more stress. And it sounds like so dark right now, but I want to hear about like, does that get better? You know?
Yeah, sure. And I just feel like I want to say something before. Like today, I'm a coach myself and I'm a female and I have male clients that are going through the same. So I just wanted to say that in case any like men here watching us and feel like, oh, but maybe it's because she's a girl and it's just like, I don't know, they're more attached in this. Like, no, you're a man and you went through a trauma and you feel extremely attached to your therapist. Like that happened too, and it's normal. It's the same. Just wanted to say that.
One second. So men are struggling too, you're saying? I hear you.
In that area, because I know that I have some of my clients that in some point will feel like they're becoming dependent on me and will text me between sessions and they will feel so ashamed because of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not supposed to do that. Like I'm supposed to be,
macho, independent.
Exactly.
Manly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I love that you're saying that.
Sure. So then I started like kind of like learning a lot on my own, and I learned about attachment and this and that, and I understood that I'm anxiously attached to people, and it's almost like the minute I'm having this emotional connection to people, it's almost like there is this part of me that is expecting them to be everything. There's this little child inside of me that just like, oh, now I find this person who can feel my emotional needs, so like they're just gonna be everything for me.
Okay. Well, kind of time out. You had to learn this on your own.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. On behalf of the world of therapists, I'm very sorry. You've been in therapy. You were going to therapy. And nobody was helping you understand what was happening to you.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just like receiving tools around like panic attack and anxiety and what to do with my breath and this, but like nothing more than that. I had no idea what is happening and what's going on. And that's how I got to coaching, because I said, let me just like go and learn as much as I can on my own for myself. So I understand what is happening for me.
Okay. So you're doing this on your own and you're learning that you have anxious attachment. It sounds like that's your style, right? And for whoever doesn't know what that means, it's like this very clingy type. Like and you said, I think you need everything from the therapist.
Right.
Those were your words, I think. And you're wondering, and you're tuning in and noticing that. And you're wondering, why is it happening? So you're learning, oh, this is called an attachment style.
Right.
This happens because of what happened to me when previously, and this is the result of that. So I'm seeking this connection and this care all the time because that's how badly I need it.
Right.
And probably need reassurance that I care about you and you do matter. And when you're not with that person, you've never experienced separate, but I belong. You've never experienced such a
yes.
Right?
Exactly. So, I think this is like the thing that for me, in some point, once I realized the concept, I thought I'm realizing it. I didn't want to get better because it felt like, or I'm anxiously attached, or the other way is like no attachment.
Yeah.
So if I'm healing, it means I'm giving up on connection. Then nobody will care about me. Then nobody will save me. Then if I'm not going to be a victim, then you're just not going to see me.
You're reminding me of a lot of clients who sometimes, I don't want to start another soapbox. I'm not going to go in that direction of borderline. But it's like, put that aside. But there's like, let's say, very dysregulated. I don't know if that was your presentation, but sometimes there's a very dysregulated presentation where it's basically even practically just screaming to like, will you hear me? Like, will you hear me? And the concept that like I could be quiet and you'll notice me is so foreign. Like, it can't be true. And like, there could be somebody who's just trying so hard to be heard, and they don't believe you when you say like, I'll listen with the same ears, whether you whisper, whether you're talking, whether you're screaming. Like, you matter all the time, no matter how you're communicating. But for you, you were like, if I start to heal, so there's a part of you that was like afraid of healing, because if I start to heal, then I'm going to be talking regular. I don't know if you'll notice me because I'm just going to be regular, and I'm not going to have these needs, like this needy type of need. And then will you notice me still?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get better because I like how this feels. You're paying attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whoa. So how do we move past that?
So,
Suspense. Suspense.
yeah, but I think that's also the only reason that I believed in that is because I attracted into my life or people that avoid me, that has this like kind of like push-pull relationship that made me even more and more anxious, or the type of people that are like anxious like me and felt the need to like save me. So if I'm okay, then they don't need to save me. So they're not interested and I feel abandoned. It was just like so much chaos.
At the center of it is, I need to be noticed in any way that I can. And it's not going to be through being calm and quiet and in the background, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be like seeking it out, trying to draw attention to me because I need that so badly.
Yeah. And I was also so afraid of that. I was also so afraid of being
Once they come close. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
Could you expand on that? So here you are, because you see, because now this is where you start to think that you're crazy, because I so badly want connection. I so badly want people to notice. But then when they start noticing me, I say, get out of my face.
Yeah.
Right? So what's happening there? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I feel like for every person, probably it looks the same. But I know for me, like once you get to know me, I had all those voices in my head of like, oh my gosh, now they're going to see that I'm really crazy.
Yeah.
Now they're going to see that I lied to them.
Right.
Now they're going to see all my negative sides. Now they're going to push me away.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what you're saying is, when they get close, like I've been showing them what I wanted them to see for now. But now that they're getting close, they're going to see all the things that I don't want them to see. And the reason I don't want them to see them is because it's ingrained in me that those things are shameful. I've been taught that. I've been taught that for a long time.
Exactly. So if they're going to see the bad things about me, they're going to abandon me and to see that, and I'm so afraid. But if they're not going to see it and they're going to believe that I'm so amazing, then they don't need to save me. So anyway, there's not going to be connection. So I'm just like, I can't win. It's going to be good. If I'm not going to be good, like I'm just not going to have what I need.
Yeah. So then, but there's still the push-pull, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't be alone.
Right.
So I seek it and I need it. And then when you get close, I push you away. And then I seek it again.
Yeah.
And then I push it away.
I was just talking to my therapist like a few weeks ago about that. Because one day I was just like sitting, reflecting back on like my own journey with my therapist. And I said, you know what? Let me read all the messages from the like beginning of my journey with him.
Wow.
And I was witnessing my own push and pull and how every time like we got close, I freaked out. And every time he saw something good in me, I was like, I needed to come as a victim again. And I was just like, I was so afraid of everything. And if he would not set a boundary, but like, I remember it's a great example. He said something, there is a lot here. And he meant it as a way of like empathy. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, he's telling me I'm too much and I'm fixing too much. And like, and I freaked out. So now I'm going to avoid you. And even if you're going to check on me, I'm not even going to say that I'm okay because I'm not going to like do too much.
What you're saying is I'll abandon myself so that I could have attachment with you. And you don't abandon me because I need you. So I'll make sure that happens no matter what, and you don't leave me.
Yeah.
It's such a deep idea because that means then that healing is finding the parts of us that we abandoned because they needed connection. right? And we need them to be seen, but they are so tender and raw and not feeling okay to be seen.
Right.
So that's where you are. You're like, okay, let's hide those again. Now I'll come, I'll please the therapist, or I'll tell them that they're doing great work, or I'll stay so surface this week so that we don't get too deep or be too noticed. Or maybe I cancel and then I'll come back the next week or something.
Yeah. And I'm just going to tell him all the good things that I did this week, and we're going to celebrate together. And
I'll be so proud. 100%. And all of that is just protecting yourself from getting hurt. That's the whole thing. Right? Can I just see one? I just want to insert in here, even though it's a whole other topic and a whole other soapbox. You're describing symptoms of what people like to call borderline personality disorder. Okay? And it's absolutely not that. Right? It's a trauma response, right? Because when people write that off as, okay, you have some personality disorder, which basically means go off on your own and learn some skills to regulate so that you can come back to me and be with me in a way that I find acceptable. Right? That's the way that would be dealt with. And if someone told you that, which is really what you thought about yourself, like, I have to be different. I need to come in differently so that I could be acceptable. Versus like, no, you come exactly how you are, and we want to discover those parts of you that are feeling seen, and we won't push that, but we want to invite them to be seen because you deserve that, rather than say, okay, you're acting crazy, you're dysregulated, you're back and forth, push and pull. And the therapist in that didn't do anything wrong. All they said was, you're not even too much. This is a lot, right? So a therapist who doesn't understand what you're going through would absolutely, I think, have some countertransference in that moment. It's cool, where they would say, I don't know what's up with you. Like, I don't understand. All I said was, it's a lot. You're having this really strong reaction. It's not really matching what I said. I think that you might have heard this, like you're too sensitive or overly sensitive, right? Or too much or something like that. And I don't know if I could give you what you're looking for here, right? And again, those messages are, you're a problem. Please change who you are so that I could deal with you, because when you're dysregulated, I don't know what on earth to do with you, especially since I want to be a good guy and you're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong as your therapist, because and you're reacting to me as if I'm some horrible person when I didn't even want to hurt you, and you're having this strong reaction, so it's too sensitive. Mean you're not a candidate for this kind of work, right? Or maybe you need to learn regulation or something, and then you could come back.
Right.
I hope that never happened to you, but I know that that's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, as a mother, like, I have 2 kids, and like, even like with regulation, I don't teach my kids how to regulate themselves.
Exactly.
I'm only offering connection and attachment, and I'm regulating myself, and that's it. They learn how to regulate. So like, for me, when my clients come to sessions and they're dysregulated, that's the best place. And now I can share with you my nervous system, and now I can share with you myself, and we can just like regulate together.
Describing the concept of co-regulation,
Right.
which basically what you're saying is that the way that children learn to regulate is not through a skill. It's through the calm nervous system of an adult. And if somebody missed out on that, right, and they didn't get that, or they didn't get that consistently, and they're dysregulated, you could teach them all the skills you want, right? What you're also saying is that you have to be on your own, and you have to figure it out yourself. Inherently, that's triggering. Inherently. Because I need you to regulate with me in order to know what this feels like. If you tell attachment trauma clients to get to a calm place, go get that calm spot within your nervous system. First of all, who says that calm feels safe? Number one.
It doesn't, right?
It doesn't feel safe to people who have been through that, because it's so unsettling. Like, this doesn't feel right to me. I never felt this way before, and that's scary. Right? So to even expect that they should have to do that is in itself unfair, right?
Yeah.
And we're also passing the buck onto them to figure it all out when it's something that they never learned how to do, because it takes an adult to help them do that, and no one's doing that.
Right.
The responsibility is absolutely on the therapist to do that for and with the client in that case. But the therapist gets dysregulated if they don't know what they're dealing with, because they're being accused of being bad or something.
Right.
So they might get dysregulated, and now they're going to do the same thing that the people who cause pain did to you, which is you can't be this way with me. I can't tolerate you when you're like this. And now you're left overwhelmed by yourself. And now you have to figure it all out. And you're the crazy one. I went to the therapist. And they're also saying I got to go figure it out and do my homework and do skills and do all kinds of things. And I don't know how to, homework. Homework means that I could focus and on my prefrontal cortex, right?
Right.
when we're in dysregulated nervous system, we're overwhelmed and stressed, and that's all fine. So what we need is a regulator, someone to help us, calm down.
Yeah.
So this is really important.
Yeah, and I feel like especially like when we go through like so much trauma, we become so attuned with other people, like
And
emotions.
that's the sensitive. But that's what it
Yeah.
is. When they say like you're too sensitive, of course you're too sensitive, right?
Right,
Too
but that's
sensitive.
the thing, that if you're sitting in front of your therapist and he's getting dysregulated, you're gonna notice it
You're gonna
right
pick it up.
away.
Absolutely.
Pick it up right away,
Absolutely.
and you put it on yourself, like, oh, I said something wrong. I
Yeah.
did something wrong.
Yeah.
And now the whole session, like, you don't even understand what he's saying, and you're just like in your head, like, what did I
Wow.
do? What did I do? I did something wrong. I did something
Wrong.
wrong. Yeah, I
That's
know
tremendous.
when I'm wearing my coaching hat, like, I'm really paying attention to my face expression, my voice, my body language, because I know the smallest thing can cause so much of like stress inside of my client's body.
Yeah. So thank God you were too sensitive, quote unquote, right? Because that sensitive has that word sense in it, where you have to be sensing any sort of threat that could
Right.
hurt you. And that's why that's sensitive, which is actually brilliant and protective and really good that that's there. And because you have that, you're able to tune into yourself when you're with a client because you know what they're going through.
Right.
So that's tremendous. I'd like to challenge therapists, and including myself, how often are we focused on how am I coming across? How's my nervous system? What's happening with me? Or when there's some reaction from a client to say, is there something that I'm doing? Not just what are they doing? Is there something about me, non-verbally, verbally, and my nervous system? So if a client would say to you, let's say, I'm sensing that something's up with you. I don't know if they feel comfortable sharing that with you. I don't know how exactly coaching works, but I know in therapy,
Yeah.
I like inviting these type of things because they're very important to me. And be a client who says what's up? Like at certain points, I'm curious if you deal with that and how you would respond to the client, or what's a way to help the client feel safe in a moment like that.
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, I will celebrate their courage to share that with me and speak up and say that. And
Which I
Yeah.
imagine for a lot of clients, it's hard to trust that you're being genuine, right?
right.
Right. Even though you are, but it could feel like, oh, they just want me to feel like I'm a good client, or they want whatever. There's some agenda
It's
here.
true, but you know what? And this is like a feedback that I'm receiving from clients, and I really know that, like, if I'm coming to a session and I do my own work, and I always take like 10-15 minutes before every session to clear my own system. I'm not going on my phone. I'm not reading messages. Like, I'm making sure that I'm grounded and I'm here for them. It creates that level of safety, and it creates that trust that they need. So yeah, I think that's very, very helpful.
I tell you something I've done, and I want to hear your feedback because I don't know if my clients will tell me. So what I'll do is, if I get that, and I get it once in a while, rare, but I get it sometimes, I'll say, listen, this is your session. Would it be okay if I check in with myself?
Yeah.
I don't want to take up your time, right? But like, I could do that for you,
Yeah.
right? What do you think about that?
I think that's beautiful.
Okay.
I think that's beautiful, and it also like showing your clients like, oh, it's okay. It's okay for me to take the time
Yeah.
to tune into my body, to check in with myself.
Mhm.
And then sometimes I would just, okay, so I'm noticing this is coming up for me. And I don't know if it's coming from my body or it's my body reflecting something that I'm sensing in you. So let me show you what I like to do when I feel this way.
Mhm.
And I'm just, I'm just going to regulate myself in front of them. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah, I love that.
But
That's beautiful.
I'll go back to like my story for a second. So I really feel so lucky that I found this therapist, and honestly, like, I don't even know how I found him and what happened, but he has on one hand this like secure, healthy attachment himself, but also that deep understanding of like what I'm going through and what I need from him. And I think also like the moment that he saw my dependency on him, he was able to like really like kind of like separate my inner child and me. And I wasn't. I was so enmeshed with my inner child. Like for me, it was just like whatever my inner child is feeling, like this is what I'm feeling. I didn't even know who I am as an adult. Like he saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was helping you see that this need that you have of dependency is coming from a younger part of yourself. And
yeah, but he didn't say that specifically in the
but he was
beginning.
able to deal with you in a way where he saw it like that. So I guess what that would need is some gentleness and some understanding and soothing.
Yeah.
Without even saying what it is necessarily. But I imagine that's how he dealt with it, rather than say like you're too much, or I don't know if this is going to work for you, or something like that.
Yeah. I like now when I'm thinking about those things, I like this example of if let's say you're walking on a street and you see this bird that just fell from a tree and it seems dead, and you're like kind of like wondering, is it dead or is it not? Maybe I can save it. So you're kind of like picking the bird and holding it in your hands, and it's frozen. It's not dead, just frozen from the shock, right? And the bird needs the heat from your hands to be able to start recovering. But then it's going to start shaking to kind of like release the stress from the fall. And if I'm too protective, I'm going to hold the bird. I'm not going to hold it like that. I'm just going to close on the wings to kind of like, oh no, don't shake. I'm just going to hold you. But if I'm going to do that, the bird is going to die because it's not going to be able to release all the stress that is being held in the body. So all it needs is just me holding it with the warmth in my hands, but also allowing it to like experience a little bit of that pain and the movement.
Oh my God, that's such an amazing example. Do I have permission to steal it from you?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. So I feel like this is what my therapist was doing.
But what you're also saying is that the therapist isn't afraid to pick up the bird. Okay, right. That's step one. Is that I know what I'm seeing, and I know the potential for what might bring it back to life, right? And I know how to be so delicate about it, where I could hold it and invite something new to happen,
right,
at the same time. Which means that whatever you're bringing to me is not too heavy. I could hold it. It's not too much for me because it feels probably like too much for you,
right,
or like you are too much. And what he's saying is, bring it all, and I can carry it, and I could also help you fly, even though you don't know that. You don't know that my warmth is going to help you fly, but I know that, and I can facilitate that for you.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you're going to need a shake. And think if you should shake, and wonder about shake, and wonder about warmth, and what is that, and is that safe, and all that, which is beautiful. But he'll guide that process and help you into it.
I remember a message that I received from him one day when I was in like so much like fear. I'm like, well, who's going to catch me? Like I said something like that. And he said, I'm here to catch you while you're learning to catch yourself. Wow. So he was offering this, but also I know that you'll get there. And so it's this, instead of the push and pull that I was used to, it's I'm here, I'm holding your hands, but I'm only holding your hands and I can see that you're going to learn how to walk.
Right. Which could we just put this in attachment language? What he's saying is that you need to attach to me right now because you don't know how to do these things, because they're scary, terrifying, overwhelming. You've been shamed for them and all of that. And I'm going to do this in a way that's safe for you. And let me lead the way on that, because you're probably going to question it and push and pull and think you're crazy and then feel ashamed and run away. And like, I'll drive this thing, right? And I'll attach to you safely and securely. And at the same, and then what that's going to facilitate is an inner attachment within yourself. You're going to be able to tend to that young one who's so dependent, right? Like you now know what attachment is and what connection feels like, and what love, safe, sense of love and connection and care and compassion and all those things are.
Yeah.
Until you know what those things are, you can't do that for yourself.
Yeah,
which is,
I love that you said that.
Which is such a misconception, because a lot of people say, you just need to have some compassion, just have some self-compassion, or something like that. I wrote about this recently. And it's that's again shaming, like subtly. Right? It's again like you should just figure out what compassion is and know how safe that could be for yourself and just go with it. Like self-compassion. Those two words are two words that don't apply to trauma survivor. The word self is like, what are you even talking about? And the stuff that I is long gone.
Right.
Because I didn't get attachment from being that person. So that one's gone and exiled somewhere. And now you want me to have compassion? I don't even know what that feels like. Especially when I was a compassionate person, I got hurt. So guess what? We're going to also exile compassion and be done with that. And now you're going to expect me to have self-compassion, right?
Right.
How am I going to do that?
Also, like, I don't really appreciate so much the term like self-compassion or self-talk, because it seems like we're like this one person, but like one part that keep talking to itself. And this is not how it works. There is always this dialogue inside of us. It's not one voice talking to itself. It's a dialogue between a vulnerable part, so we can call it an inner child, but a vulnerable part and a mature part. And
adults,
yeah.
But just to review, in order to have that connection, it has to be felt and experienced.
Exactly.
Sensed. Otherwise, it's not safe to do that.
Right.
So that needs that understanding from the adult, and that's what he provided for you, and he was telling you, and that's why like this thing of overly dependent, like that word, it bothers me, that overly dependent on the therapist. Of course, you depend very much on the therapist. You have no idea how to do this by yourself.
Right.
So you must depend on the therapist. It's expected.
Right. But here I think that it can be tricky if your therapist doesn't really know that and understand that, and is there coming to save you.
Yeah. Either they'll save you and they'll keep the dependency going, which is really unhealthy, very not okay, and unfortunately that happens a lot. Or there'll be the isolation of like, whoa, like you're bringing too much to me, like back up. Yeah. And then that's again now shaming and isolating and all that. So what it has to be is depend on me. I know how to navigate this safely for you, and you can depend on me and not feel shame about that, because you need my regulated nervous system to learn how to be calm. You can't do that yourself. You actually do depend on that person for that. But once they give that to you, now you know what it is, which by the way could take a very, very, very long time to trust that and sense that. Let's make that very clear, because there's so much wounding that will show up while that's happening.
Yeah. Also, for me to really be able to like internalize that, it's not just through my brain. It's mostly through like my felt sense and like my body and my nervous system. So
but those words, those words that you're saying, felt sense, body, and nervous system, are all triggered, right?
Right.
You can hear that now and know what you're saying and feel okay saying, because you're what you want to talk about, like Howard there, you're in the light at the end of the film, right? Yeah. But for a lot of people on here, probably, and people are going to watch it, felt sense, body, and I forgot what else you said, are just like, whoa, I don't want to go near my body. I don't want to feel anything inside there, and it's not safe for me to.
Right. That's why the healthy dependency can take so long.
Yeah.
Because only when my body feels safe to connect to my therapist in a healthy way, then I'm okay. Yeah. But what if I'm so disconnected from my body? Then it's going to take so long for me to get there, and that's okay too.
So let me ask you that. Is it worth the investment?
Of course, yes. Yeah, I remember asking my therapist once, because I kind of like came with all the shame and all the voices in my head, but also with all the knowledge, right? So I was kind of like diagnosing myself. So I said, am I codependent on you? And and I remember him saying like, there is no such thing. Like, you cannot be codependent on me, and you're not codependent. You have vulnerability for codependency. But codependency is a relationship. It's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
So you can only be codependent on somebody else who is codependent in a different way.
Meaning, just to bring at that point, you can only have a codependency if there's one person who needs rescuing, and then the other person needs to be a rescuer, and depends on that. If you have those two, then you'll have a codependency. But if you have a person who is secure with themselves and doesn't need to be a rescuer and doesn't depend on anything in order to feel okay within themselves, then you can do all the attachment challenges for them. You could push them, you could pull them, you could berate them, you could run away from them, whatever is going to happen. And they say, I know what's happening here because they're secure. Right. And they're like, I see, and I know what's going on for you, and I'm right here with you. And you can keep depending on this, on me, on this security right here because it's safe. But your nervous system's like, I don't know if it's safe, I don't know. And that's where the chaos comes. And they're like, okay. And that's where that holding comes in.
Right.
I love it.
So I remember asking him
about like your
vulnerability for codependency. Yes, that really like stick into my head because it is so helpful even today. If I'm stepping into like any type of relationships in my life and I'm noticing that codependency is kind of like, picking it ahead, I'm like, oh, okay, something about this relationship is triggering that vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not just something about me. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I remember the next question I was like asking him, but like, so why do I like need this so much? Why do I like value this so much? And I remember him like just saying like, welcome, like you just figure out how good it feels to have that secure attachment in your life. I was like, oh, yes.
That's amazing. It feels so good when you're saying it. Like I'm feeling that like settling, like, oh, here we are. It's like you're being born. It's like, this is how it should feel coming out of the womb. Like there's this embrace that's feeling so warm.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you were leaning into and wondering, like, what is this? That was coming from a young part of you that was watching it happen and say, like, what is that? And then this was like this reassurance that this is going to be okay.
Right.
And this is what we were looking for the whole time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So there was a big chaos, and then we get to the end. So what's the end? Where are we? I don't know if we could skip to the end. I don't know if there's more.
Yeah.
But
I think the end is, I'm still seeing this therapist. It's a beautiful relationship. I think only now I slowly understand how like calm and healthy can be so deep and meaningful that like any other chaotic relationships like cannot give you that.
Yeah. And calm is no longer scary.
It's no longer scary. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I imagine that wasn't simple.
Yeah. It wasn't simple at all because in some point, like it was a long time ago already, but I realized I'm not craving the drama from the place I enjoy the drama, but it's just like it was so familiar. It means that you're still interested. It means that there is still something is going on.
Yeah.
So there is still relationship.
I wonder also if it's quiet, then I'm just with me. And I don't know who that is or if I want to know who that is.
Yeah.
So I need something in the environment to react to so that it's not on me, the spotlight, because that doesn't feel good. But at that point, once you're having safe connection and attachment within yourself, it's now okay to just be. It's more okay to just be, and we don't need to react to other things in order to be.
Right.
Yeah. So then would you say then, because people ask this question all the time, because you went from anxious attachment,
Right.
would you then say that it's possible to achieve safe, secure attachment?
Yes, absolutely. But I will also say that as a person with secure attachment, like it also depends on the type of relationships that you have with people. So it's not because I'm secure now I can tolerate any type of relationship in my life and I'll stay secure.
Right. That's probably for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've been able to really know what that is and feel like, and that can become your style.
Yes.
Meaning you can no longer feel like you need reassurances that you're not going to be abandoned, right? For example, which is a big one, right? Like, oh, they didn't text me back, or why didn't they invite me to that thing, or whatever, like a constant anxiety around, like, do I still matter? Am I worthy? Am I about to be rejected? There's no longer like this loud voice in your head or loud stress and pressure.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. This is a live example, everybody, of being able to arrive. And it's a long journey.
It's a long journey. It's a long journey. And I think it was a journey that I needed. Like I had a lot of work to do myself and I needed the right people on my side.
Yeah. So then it's okay. Then it's okay to depend on people, right?
It's a must.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a must. And whoever's like, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no. Like, don't give me a must. Right? It's too scary.
Right.
What would you say to that? What would you say to that?
So I would say like it's okay. Like you can do this on your own if you feel like it. Like I was always like I'm always gonna like, there is something that I tell my clients. You can share everything in this room.
Mhm.
Everything.
Mhm.
There are two words that we're leaving outside the door. Should and shouldn't. I should do it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything else is welcome.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying it's a must, I mean in a way of like to get into self-regulation, we must co-regulation before. It's like it's not working in a different way. It's
Yeah. And I want to say that, could I add to that, that process is going to be stressful. The process of depending on someone for co-regulation is going to be stressful, and they are going to let you down. They are going to frustrate you. They're not going to be available all the time that your system needs them to be there for you. And that doesn't mean, therefore, we should not depend on people. That means that we have to learn how to increase our tolerance, which is not the client's responsibility. They don't have to learn that. The therapist's responsibility. Let's make that very clear. The therapist's responsibility is to help the client increase the window of tolerance for all of that, right? Because for frustration, for when they're being let down, we need regulation around that. Once we get co-regulation from the therapist around how much they let you down, then we build muscle and we increase this window of tolerance to deal with frustration, which every kid with secure attachment has to navigate to when their parents are at work and when they go to sleepaway camp and all of these things. There is major frustration in attachments always, and relationships hurt and they let you down all the time. So it's a skill, sort of. I don't like that word so much, but that has to be learned. And it's not, I can't deal with relationships, so now I'm back to being on my own. It's, I do need relationships, and it is so stressful, and I have to figure out how to stay in this game somehow and get the support around me to stay in this game, because otherwise I'm depressed and anxious and stressed and alone and isolated and wounded.
Yeah.
So we have to expect this to happen. And it's not then that the therapy is going bad necessarily, or the wrong fit, or I don't need people. It's, this is kind of how it's going to look. This is the shaky.
Yeah.
This is the ugly.
Yeah.
Right? This is.
I would probably complain about my therapist
For sure.
when I was shaking. In times that I was shaking and he wasn't fully there, I felt, like, oh, he's not there for me. But the moments that really helped me stretch myself and slowly grow, because there was this like healthy foundation that held me.
Right. And then there's now this frustration around like, oh, like you're not there in the moment. Now I come and it's a week later and I don't even want to talk about that frustration anymore, because it's like my life is so chaotic. Like whatever happened then that I'm so angry at you about was so long ago already. But like, and now I'm going to bring it up and then you're going to make me feel better because you're regulating with me.
Right.
Now I'm even more annoyed.
Right.
Because like, come on. Like, you're not going to come home with me, right? So now, like, you're going to leave me off on my own again so we could do this dance where you let me down and then I have to show up again. And I'm actually going to feel better, and I'm going to hate that I feel better, because why am I feeling better when you're not even there with me in the moment?
Right.
Right? So there's that like, that's a new concept, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right? That we could be together, and that gives us sort of the fuel to, over time, not in the beginning and not in the middle, and sometimes a long, long time, where, I now know how to regulate because of the times that I came back dysregulated and got co-regulation. So now, just automatically, I start to notice within myself that I know how to do that.
Right.
Sometimes, and sometimes I'm better at it, and sometimes I'm not like everybody else.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would still like, let's say I just had a conversation with a friend today, and she's like, so how do you know, like in moments now, let's say you're having a difficult day and you say like, oh, I wish I had somebody like now. Like, how do you know if this is you relapsing or this is just like
relapsing? Oh, that word.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And well, first of all, I think it's okay if that attachment is being triggered. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, that's a younger.
But for me, really, like, how do I know is that I ask myself, like, what is the real need right now? Is a need to like collapse and be saved, or is a need for me to like be seen and connect? Because if the need is to be seen and connect, it might not be a younger part. It might be me as an adult with just a normal need to kind of like connect to another human being. But if the need is to collapse and to be saved, I know it's a younger part. And then I know, okay, maybe I need to reach out to somebody, or maybe I can tap into my own like inner mother and show up through my inner child. Yeah.
Absolutely. Which you, again, were only able to do because of the dependency that you allowed with your therapist.
Yeah.
And your therapist helped you do that safely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's it's such a stressful topic because the word dependency is, people don't like that. The word therapy is, if something's wrong with me, if I need that. So I hope it's like super, super clear that like we need people. We will always depend on connection.
Yeah.
Always. And sometimes we need more from the outside environment because we haven't received it from the environment. And therefore we don't know how to be connected in a safe way. And therefore we're dysregulated and chaotic. And we need someone else to help us calm that down. And then eventually we know how to do that for ourselves within our own systems. But we always get input from the environment. That's okay.
Right.
Like, it's not like you're immature when you need to call a friend because you want connection.
Right.
That's not
exactly.
Immature. That's very adult.
Exactly. Yeah. And there is a lot of like grief also coming up with that place that like, okay, I can show up for myself. And a lot of grief is coming up of like, why do I need to be the one that is showing up for myself?
Yes. Yeah, that's huge. I hear that a lot from clients. Like, also that anger comes out of like people who, and then it's like, I don't want to be the adult. I want to be safe. And that's where that shows up in the room. And that's where that screaming happens and that like, constant reaching out or something like that, because I don't want to be told, like, figure it out by yourself. Yeah. I want you to do it for me. Won't you finally do it for me already? Like, hello? Right. Like, if I scream out enough, if I call you enough times, will you pick up? Because I can't be that person overwhelmed having to do this by myself. Yeah. I don't want that. Right. And I think what you're also saying is that really, even that child doesn't need saving. It needs connection. Right. Like, even that young one, it thinks it needs saving, right? It thinks the only way is for the adult to take over because it doesn't know that there's an adult here too in the system now. Yeah. Because there's no connection between, like, trauma happened a long time ago and that's frozen in time. And it doesn't know that there's a present day adult here now. So it's just like, someone help, someone help, someone help. And I think eventually it learns through good work, right? That, oh, there is someone here. Oh, and I don't need to be saved by that person. Yeah. I just need connection.
Right. I think
ultimately that's
like the thing with like saving and just having somebody is a lot of times we believe, okay, if I will have somebody, it means that I'm not going to experience pain or anger or sadness anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So even like with our kids, we do that. They cry and we feel like we have to fix it for them. But this is not really it is. Like my daughter was crying tonight before bedtime, something that she was afraid. And there is that desire of like, what are you afraid of? Let me just like get rid of it, right? Instead of like, I'm here with you. Can we hold this fear together? Yeah. Like,
you're saying something that's so obvious, but there's so much nuance to what you're saying because there's another topic that I hope like really needs a whole nother discussion. But like, there's probably people on this live or are going to watch it later that are like, okay, I don't really have trauma. Like, if you're okay, it's one thing if you're talking about like emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever, different things like that are so overtly obvious that I've been hurt in that way. And that's my attachment trauma. So like, okay. But then there's a whole nother category of people, right, who have literally will not believe you when you say that something happened to them because it didn't happen to them. Right. Because what happened to them is what didn't happen for them.
Right.
It's not what did happen, it's what didn't happen, which is that tuning in that you were describing right now. Meaning even really good parents, right? We talk about the S's of attachment, of the seen, right? Soothed, safe, and secure, right? If you do the soothed without the seen, that could be really overwhelming for a child, even though it looks so soothing and beautiful, right? A good example, like let's say there's a child who is really upset about someone bothering them at school. So the parent doing all the right things, like, come sit with me, let's talk about your day, let's sit down and talk. And the kid's like, well, this kid's bothering me and whatever. And like, oh, I hear you. And tomorrow could be another day, right? And tomorrow could be, and it looks so loving, and it is coming from a beautiful, loving place.
Right.
And I don't understand, like, I'm doing the discussion, I'm making time for my kid, and they're doing all the right things, but there's one thing missing there, and that's everything,
Right.
which is you're having a big emotion right now
Right.
and feeling overwhelmed and dysregulated. If I don't help hold that emotion with you, you're just going to continue to disconnect from your emotional experience because you can't manage it.
Mm.
So it's going to be, okay, I guess I'll stop telling my parents stuff because, like, or how I feel, or stop tuning into how I feel because I can't manage it. So,
And
I just can't
by
do
the
it.
way, like, it
Yeah.
can be something so small as like my lollipop fell on the
Yeah.
floor and broke.
But it's on
And
another one.
that create trauma
Yeah.
because, like, for me, one of the definitions of trauma is when my nervous system capacity is smaller than my felt sense experience.
Okay, wait, say that again. Go
What?
again.
So when my nervous system capacity is smaller than my felt sense experience.
Okay.
So I'm able to
Yeah,
hold in my
exactly.
body less than what I'm feeling.
Right. So if the lollipop falls on the floor and there's this big reaction, and we say, okay, but I'll give you another one, but I'll give you another one. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because you're being so kind and generous. But we also have to say, you are really upset about that lolly.
Yeah.
Wow, tell me about how this feels. Like, it looks so big, right? You know, let's view that together. Then that's where we get that seen, like, deeply seen. And now seen isn't scary, right? Seen is beautiful. Seen is, wow, like, I'm being seen for this big experience that I don't understand. And it's safe to talk about and view it. But what these other people have had emotional neglect, really, and it's really not about what did happen, it's what didn't happen. That's what was missing. So, and a lot of times, like, I had really good parents, like, they did all the right things, like, they did all the steps on the right. They were very good parents. But this one thing that you miss, that gets missed because we just don't know about it, or we're too overwhelmed, or whatever, can be everything.
Yeah.
It's like terrifying me to even say that out loud, right? But it's because it's so subtle.
Yeah. And I find that sometimes it's even more challenging when that was your experiences because you don't know what you missed. If you had a view, then you can say, okay, that's my trauma. I want to heal it. But it's something. I had a client that lost parents, so it wasn't even neglect. It was just like with no parents. And I remember the session. They walked in, and I said, okay, like, what is in your heart today? What is being alive in your body? Because that's how I start my session. And they were saying, like, nothing bad happened this week.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, what about something good? And it was just like, they were shocked. Like, oh, I don't know. I was never thinking about it. Like,
Right. And also, are we allowed to connect over something good?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I thought I'm here to solve my problems.
Exactly.
Why are you asking me, like, what's for dinner? Like, I thought we're just here to solve problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're here for connection, right? But that's so scary. And this is such an important idea. And also, like, idea that, like, there could be inner child wounding from such an experience. There's a very big resistance to wanting that to be true, especially when things like the childhood was good, like in those cases, like, it was good. It really was, right? In many, many, many ways, except this thing was missing. And that's why we're where we are. And, like, even to just sort of accept that means that I sort of have to grieve what wasn't.
Yeah.
And that process is very, very painful.
I feel like in the healing journey, every time you celebrate a step, right away you're grieving.
Yeah.
So with the celebration and the grief,
First of all, you're even losing the constant seeking out and support. You're losing that was a way of protection, right? And I think I talked about this last week or this week. I don't know. We're like, that has to be grieved now. Like, I almost wanted to put our video, like, when we celebrate, like, a success, like you're saying, let's make a big party, and then, like, let's also make a goodbye party for the whatever we're letting go of, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the drinking or the binge eating or the self-harm, whatever was going on there, like, let's give it a hug. Like, it was there, like nobody else was. right?
Yeah.
No one else understood us. Our friends didn't understand. Our therapist didn't understand. No one understood it, but that one did. They knew how to make us feel better, right? They knew how to protect that young hurting person. So we sort of have to like really honor, give it a trophy,
Yeah.
make an award ceremony. And like, that's only what you really could let go of that. That's what I think. I'm weird like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
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 Wow. This was so special. I don't know if you have more to share, and I didn't look at the chat. So I don't know if there were questions, but I don't even know how long this is. Anybody?
Yeah. I also didn't look at the
Yeah.
chat. I'm maybe just gonna like say,
Yeah.
so for me, if I'm thinking about like coaches or therapists or like just people that wants to work with trauma, part of being trauma informed is also to know attachment, to work on your own attachment, to have huge nervous system capacity. Like,
So
yeah.
I think it has to be super clear that because this word trauma informed, like it gets thrown around, and then like you start talking about trauma, and there's like so much shaming coming from the person who's trauma informed, and I'm guilty of it myself. Like for sure, there are things that I don't understand yet, right? But to me, like it has to be that the therapist is working on themselves. Their capacity has to be getting bigger to be able to hold all of that chaos and all of that, push and pull. The therapist has to be working on themselves. The therapist who says, like, I've never been in therapy or never worked on myself, it's like, how do you treat a trauma client? Like, run, right? It's not possible, right? Because it's like, you're going to get triggered from your client 100%. You're going to be tested and challenged, and they need that. They need you to be challenged, and they need you to mess up and show them what a mess up looks like and how to do the repair, because that's what they need for their corrective experience. And it's the whole thing is you're a problem, you're a problem, you're a problem, or you're really good and just okay, but like I don't know how to reach you. Because like I'm calm and I'm okay. I'm like, okay, you could do your thing, but I don't know how to tune in and like know what I'm looking at. I think I put out a post like a few months ago, like there's no such thing as a trauma therapist who only treats adults. Right? Because you have to realize, and it's because the inner child is walking into that room, and you better know how to be like tender and like soft and gentle and recognize what's there, because it's a young person. Doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because one of my mentors asked me a week ago, like, what's your like anima me? Like, what's your, I don't know, it's like your like when you're thinking about your work. So I'm also like a parenting coach. Like I work with parents, I work with kids, and I was like, it doesn't matter who I work with. For me, it's like no child is being left behind. Like this is for me.
And also, I should put it out there once we're on this live, like even when you're in the place that you're in now, you're still in therapy, right? Which means that there's maybe going to be a point where you decide, okay, I could be okay without it. I don't know, right? Maybe there'll be that point, but there's always layers and layers and layers. So like, a lot of times people say, like, I thought I healed that part. Like, I thought that one was healed. Like, I thought we did good work here. Like, why is that popping up again? Right? And I just want to honor that. That's like very, very normal. But it doesn't come with the same intensity and the same fears and the same charge. Usually, sometimes it's like
So I think something that I tell my clients is, you healed that already, and because you healed that, then this part is trusting you and showing you a deeper layer.
There could be an element of it that was intended to, or it's just a new age, a different age that we think is the same, but it's a little bit different. And that's okay, because we're building the capacity to deal with it.
Right. And for me today, I have a therapist, and I have a few different mentors, because I'm just like, working in like different ways. Thank you. And I think it's not that the triggers are not coming or the work is not, it's the same work, but like you said, it's not scary anymore. It's more exciting. Because now when a trigger is coming, I'm like, oh yes, you're here to like tell me something else. Like I know that I'm going to overcome this, and I'm just going to be like a different person tomorrow.
Right. It's your perspective on the trigger, which is beautiful, which I've talked about also, is like, it's an opportunity to see what's unresolved and needs tending to, right?
Yes.
That triggers.
But I don't like to say that loud because when I was in the place of experiencing my pain, I didn't want to hear all those people that say, one day you will heal and you will see how everything that happened to you happened for you, and triggers are really a gift, and all of that. I was like, no.
No, here it's like when you have that adult consciousness, it's now like, oh, I need to do work here. I need to work on this, right? And the word healed is something that is totally not where we're headed, because then we're dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to be alive, hopefully, and struggling through life and figuring that out. But yeah. Okay, I think this was a lot.
Yeah.
Anything more you want to say before we go and say goodbye? We'll check the chat. I think people are loving what you're saying, and they want us to save the life. Please do this again. Wow. Do this again. Okay. So powerful. Love it. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah. DM us and we'll figure it out. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
We're good?
No, just thank you so much.
What
And
an absolute pleasure. There's so many gems here that you're sharing. And I think that this will get passed around, hopefully, to the people that I have a lot of faith that the people that need to watch this will watch it.
yeah.
Hopefully feel like so validated. Like, to see someone who's been through it, who really gets it, will hopefully shine a lot of light onto their journey. You're going to forever be a part of that. They're going to remember you. So that's beautiful.
Thank
That's
you.
an honor, I'm sure. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Wow. What an impactful, powerful conversation with Hadass. What this conversation with Hadass makes so clear is that healing attachment trauma isn't neat and it isn't linear. Therapy can feel destabilizing precisely because it touches the places where connection once hurt the most. Feeling dependent, regressed, or emotionally intense in therapy doesn't mean something has gone wrong. It often means the relationship is doing what it's meant to do. One of the most important themes in this episode is the shift from trying to regulate through skills alone to being regulated in relationship. Through a therapist who can stay present, hold boundaries, and tolerate the intensity without withdrawing or pathologizing it. Hadassah's story offers something many people need to hear. Insecure attachment is not a life sentence. Secure attachment isn't achieved by becoming more independent or less needy. It's built through repeated experiences of safety, repair, and being held through the hard parts and the hard times. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the H.I.P podcast. Whether you're listening as a client, a therapist, or both, I hope this conversation leaves you feeling less alone and more trusting that humanly, growth really is possible. Thank you for listening to the H.I.P podcast. If you found these stories meaningful, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. You can learn more about our work at the H.I.P Counseling Center by visiting www.hipcounseling.com and stay connected with us on social media for updates and more conversations about healing and growth. Until next time, remember, humanly is possible.